called Style Borrow. So it's all you.
No applause. So I'm actually a PC user, if you can believe that, so hopefully I'll be able to figure out the Mac. So it's been incredible to being a woman entrepreneur here in DC, and I've had a lot of support and energy in the area. We just moved here about 6 months ago. And there has been some expectation, however, from time to time that the color of my startup will be pink. And indeed tonight I am talking about something fashion related that I have been working on for the past few months. So while my company idea is decidedly female, what I'm really interested in is this trend of access over ownership and how encouraging people to buy less might actually be a viable and profitable business model. And in that space, I think fashion is a great opportunity that has the potential to join cars and DVDs and books in the sharing economy successfully. And that's where my story begins. So for right now, I'm calling the concept Style Borrow. And tonight I'm going to share with you my fake it until you make it approach. And so I'll tell you about the tests I did, the interviews I led, and the ideas I have for revenue. But before we get to the test, I first want to share with you the main problems that I see with women in fashion. And so for starters, feeling like we have nothing to wear, which I'm sure is common to you all or familiar because it's really familiar to all the women in your life. Raise your hand if you're, yes, okay. So that's a common problem with women feeling they have nothing to wear. Secondly, trying to keep up with key trends on a budget, always difficult to do on a budget, and also just defining our personal style, so walking out of the house feeling like we're representing ourselves well. All of these essentially are creativity and confidence problems and are never going to be solved by consuming more. Trust me, I've tried that. So I think what I tried to do is try to find a model that allows us to consume less, but also maximizes the sharing of ideas and support through a social network. So the idea then was to test creating an invite-only garment library where young women can contribute and borrow clothes, including shoes, tops, bottoms, accessories, at a monthly subscription fee. And so that's what I did. I started kind of rolling this idea in my head around for a bit, and I just thought with all the logistical issues I should just fake it and see what happened. And so I set up a private Flickr group, and I invited about 20 young professional women to contribute clothes they rarely, if ever, wore to the group, into Essential Warehouse, which at the time was my closet. Lucky me. And together they contributed about 100 pieces of clothing, which gave me an instant inventory. And each time a young woman contributed or borrowed a piece of clothing, she was required to take a full-body photo of herself to show how she styled the garment, to show how the garment really looked. And I was really worried that was going to be a high barrier to entry, that the women weren't going to want to take those photos or they would find it too difficult. But I also saw that as a key differentiator to a site like this. At the end of the day, though, as things went on and just when the project ended, that was their favorite part. The young women loved seeing how other young women styled the clothes, so that didn't end up being an issue. Also within the confines of the Flickr group, young women could comment and add notes and descriptions to the uploaded looks and also comment on other women's looks. And I was really stunned at the interactivity in just the short test time. We had 30 days, and they commented about 133 times. So let's look at some examples. Here is Angie on the right-hand side, and you can see that she borrowed clothes, a top and a jacket from Megan and Megan. They were both named Megan. And she actually wore this outfit on Valentine's Day, so the group facilitated a very special moment for her. And then next we have Susan here on the right, and she actually borrowed a pair of my skinny jeans. She was really hesitant to try the skinny jean trend. She wasn't sure if she wanted to spend the money on it in case it didn't look good on her. But after trying a pair of mine, she said, I definitely want to buy a pair of my own. She really loved them. So after borrowing, she wanted to buy. And about this time, I was talking to some great people, these people over here, and some of them recommended the book called Lean Canvas to me. And in that book, it was suggested that I do interviews with potential customers. So I scheduled a bunch of those, and I talked with several young women. And the interviews were really revealing in that while the young women resonated with the problems I was trying to solve, they weren't really doing anything about it beyond buying or binging on new clothes purchases, which ultimately just made them feel worse. And so we're just kind of willing to put up with this issue as part of the pain of being a woman. And the other thing was that while they thought my solution was okay, it didn't really seem to solve all of the problems for them. And so I started to think that a different approach might be better. Okay. So I kind of started to think then or actually I wanted to go back. Excuse me. So I started to think a different approach might be better, and I decided at the end of it that after the interviews and the 1 month long test that the outcome and the lessons were that I didn't have this genius idea, but I still was not devastated. I was really pumped and excited to try and test a whole host of new ideas. So looking at the financial projections for those new ideas and those tests, I was confident that I could reach profit with just the subscription model, but it might be easier to reach profit, the level of profit that I wanted, and actually might be necessary in order to scale with additional revenue streams. So I started to think beyond the traditional subscription model, and I thought, what are some other ways we could do this and add additional revenue? And for starters, one, could we work with retailers? So thinking about Susan and her skinny jeans, could you add a link and a discount to buy? That would be great, especially for Susan, who loved her skinny jeans. Two, could we work with independent or established designers and let them test new markets or test new lines or even get rid of excess inventory? Or three, could we just use a different model entirely? So I don't know if any of you are familiar with CSAs, but they deliver a box of assorted organic local goods to your door. Could we do the same thing? Could we deliver a selection of garments in your size and style to your door and let you pick and see if you like it? And if you like it, you could buy it. It could be good. So starting tomorrow, my plan is to kind of move forward with additional tests, test the different customer groups, age groups, see where that sweet spot lies with the different models. And I'm really excited to solve that frustration of getting dressed every morning and allow women to have the confidence to look good with access to an ever-growing wardrobe. So thank you so much, and I look forward to your questions and feedback.